Hey guys, welcome into Fantasy Football Academy 2020. As always, I am the Dean, your host, and we are here for Overreaction Monday, hashtag ORM. So, whoever was banking on the Bucks to have a big day to complete their fantasy week, sorry, didn't pan out. So, Tom Brady is going to be one of the subjects that we're going to be covering today. We are going to get into a real quick review of the Academy grads fantasy league here. I do want to take a quick moment and pay a small tribute to Alex Trebek. Passed away early Sunday morning, succumbing to his battle on, I believe it was pancreatic cancer. I don't know about you, I was a big Jeopardy's fan. My wife calls me Mr. Jeopardy. I'd sit there and get questions right that nobody should have the answer to, except if you're on Jeopardy. But I enjoy the show immensely since I was young. Jeopardy's been on for decades. Alex Trebek passed away at age 80. Mr. Trebek was one of a kind. I heard the news earlier today. I really don't stay up on too much news just because of the times in which we live. It's kind of depressing, to be honest with you. And this is no different. If you're a Jeopardy fan, as I was, my condolences to you, my condolences to the Trebek family, and to the Jeopardy community. So, moment of silence for Alex. We'll take real quick. And actually, tell you what, let's play a little something real quick for you guys. Sorry, guys, it's the commercial. Let's skip that. Rest in peace, Alex Trebek. Thank you for all the years that you brought knowledge and learning into our homes. So, farewell. So, gone, but will never be forgotten. So, okay, guys. So, into Overreaction Monday, and sorry about that. I know we've kind of had a lot of loss this year. We had Sean Connery earlier in the month of October, at the end of October on Halloween, and now Alex Trebek. So they say these happen in threes. I hope for our sake they don't. I really don't want to see who passes next. So anyway, so let's get into Overreaction Monday. We're going to take a quick look, as I said, at, there we go, at League of Record here. Let's go to the Game Center. We're going to check this out. We've got one game going on tonight, but I really don't think it's carrying too much fantasy implication because it's the Jets and the Patriots. The only thing pretty much worth having is Jamison Crowder from the Jets. And if you were forced to start Cam Newton, I apologize, because I don't know how much you're going to get out of that. As you see, my matchup against Hunter and the Cajun Poodoos is pretty much over. Actually, it is over. There's no one remaining on either side. 141.84 to 108 is going to be your final in this one. So the Dean going to take a victory lap on this because I can't take a victory lap because my Washington team succumbed to the Giants. We gave up way too many early points and was unable to finish the comeback. However, you will not see a happier fan in defeat than I am today, simply because not only do we have a shot still at the NFC title this year, but the new quarterback for the Washington football team is going to be Alex Smith moving forward, Mr. Comeback Player of the Year for 2020. And look, we started this show off with a tribute to a great icon in television history in Alex Trebek, mourning his passing. But at least we get a feel-good story here with Alex Smith, another Alex coming in here. Alex Smith coming back from that severe leg injury and all the surgeries that he had, and all the obstacles that he's had to overcome. He had 3 interceptions, but he did throw for over 300 yards, even when coming in late. I think that given a week, if you're looking for a streaming quarterback, somebody to plug in, Alex Smith might be worth a look moving forward. He does have the weapons. We see that Terry McLaurin, Scary Terry, did have a pretty good day. We scroll down here, 115 yards and 1 touchdown, finishing with 28.5 points in a loss and connecting late with Alex Smith. So that connection's there. J.D. McKissick is another one that we're gonna react to on Overreaction Monday, and Antonio Gibson. We're not really sure what Washington is doing with their backfield. But at least we have hope in Alex Smith. So we see there, pretty decent start. Travis Kelce really helping out here, 159 yards, no touchdowns, but the sheer volume alone is the reason that you get Kelce. Okay. Jared Cook had a fumble, so that kind of hurt him a little bit. Did not find the end zone. Of course, if you watch this game as I did, apparently Drew Brees was handing out touchdowns to everybody but Cook, including the second and third string tight end. These guys, they were alternating. I don't know what was wrong. I don't know if there's something wrong with Cook. There hasn't been a report of anything of him being hobbled. Derrick Henry having an off night, and Justin Jackson throwing up the goose egg. We see Joshua Kelly on the opposite side putting up 28 yards rushing, 31 yards receiving for a total of 10.9 points in fantasy. Look, moving forward in this, I'm not sure what's going to happen because Kalen Ballage apparently is getting his share in this backfield as well. But Justin Herbert continuing to absolutely torch the quarterback scene there with the Chargers. Even though they lost and they've been losing a lot, eventually this team is going to find a way to win. Their defense is kind of struggling, allowing 31 points to the Raiders. A late touchdown got erased on replay. Saw that it was not a touchdown, but Justin Herbert still 2 passing touchdowns and over 300 yards yet again for the rookie sensation. And remember, this guy didn't start the year as a starter. He started as Tyrod Taylor's backup and got in a week late. So all of these totals that you're going to be seeing, he he's a week behind. So this kid's just throwing up numbers like I'll get out. He should be rostered in all of your leagues. If he is not, go get him and start him with all confidence. Okay, guys? Sorry, I got a text from the champ. If you don't know who the champ is, that's the wife. Okay, so let's take a look at the scoreboard here. We had a close one here with Danny's RBU. That was my boy D Money, and D Money's been feeling a little down and out, so he's been a little under the weather. So if you guys wouldn't mind, when you look down at the bottom, subscribe, like, and share for me, and leave a comment for my boy D Money, wishing him well and speedy recovery. We see Mr. Luke here with Alpha Chads Incorporated coming through toward the end. He started out the day a little down. Will Lutz carrying him through. Juju coming in big with Big Ben. There with 31 against Dallas. The Dallas game, that was, if you watch this game, that was a crazy game. There was no way that it should have been as close as it was. Pittsburgh being held under 25 points for the first time all season. They actually had to come from behind to win this one, and it was just ugly. It was out and out ugly. Big Ben got a little dinged up right before halftime, was able to finish out the drive with the touchdown, but then went to the locker room to get evaluated. Defense wound up with a fumble recovery, and Mason Rudolph had to come in to finish things out. But we see Jimmy Graham down here making an appearance for Chicago and 17 points. Look, if you're depending on Jimmy Graham to get you over the hump, good luck with that. It's not going to happen all the time, but take it where it comes. We see Singletary again. If Singletary and Hilaire are going to be, or Elaire, sorry, are going to be your go-tos, you're not going to have a good week. Okay. Singletary and Zach Moss are battling, and Elaire just is so up and down. Matter of fact, let's look at his output if we can. And of course we can't. Unless, nope. There we go. So, but yeah, Elaire's just been too up and down for me. So, close that down there. Sorry, guys, trying to pull up the stats and they're not wanting to come up. So anyway, we see AJ Brown doing big things. Josh Allen just absolutely going off. 415, 3 passing touchdowns, 14 yards rushing and a rushing touchdown, four total touchdowns on the day, 42 points. He was the QB1, and I don't really see Sam Darnold or Cam Newton dethroning him tonight. Chase Edmonds making an appearance. Philip Lindsay just tanking here, didn't really do anything. If he had have done what he normally does, then D-Money probably would have won. Marvin Jones making an appearance, and Marvin Jones makes it really hard on fantasy owners. If you have him, he needs a touchdown to be anything, and it's sad that he has to do that without Kenny Golladay there. Kenny Galladay's gone. There's no reason why he shouldn't be in the mix more than what he is. Zeke, another disappointing performance. No touchdown here. So I don't know what to tell you about Zeke. You can try to trade him on name if somebody needs a healthy QB. But if Tony Pollard is out there, the way the eye test here looks like Pollard is just the guy to have in this backfield. We got sour apple today from Rain, guys. So hashtag not a sponsor, hashtag would love to be a sponsor. And if anyone from Rain sees this or hears about it, I do work in payments of Rain's energy drinks, guys. So if you want to pay me, and I'll pay me in energy drinks, and I will promote your any product that you want. So speaking of sponsors, I would like to take a second and thank my sponsors, Keller's Bakery in Lafayette off the Youngsville Highway at 627 Lafayette Street. Find them on Facebook, order, and when you order, you can always get 2 free cookies when you mention that the dean sent you. Also, go if you're in the Lafayette area and you're feeling a little peckish, a little hungry, you're running around town doing your thing, go down Johnson Street off of Doucette Road behind the Grand Theater in front of Red Laurel's, and you're going to find Zia of Lafayette. Go down there, tell them the dean sent you, say hi to Tucker and Heath and Leonard and all the guys down there. Look, dining room's open, to-go is ready. Go down there and get you. We still have family bundles down there starting at $35 to feed the family. If you don't want to stop in and eat, if you just need to grab something for the family for that night, you don't feel like cooking, leave the cooking to Zia. Zia will be more than happy to take care of you guys. We got great rotisserie food there. So come down and see Zia of Lafayette, Doucette Road. You can call them at 406-0013 That's 406-0013 to place your order for it to go. Look, bring it home. Family love nothing better than some good corn grits and some good rotisserie food coming hot off the rotisserie at Zia of Lafayette. So let's take a look up here, and we see the champ. Guys, what can I say about this game except wow. 167-73. Once again, the beatdown of the week coming here. We had another beatdown with the COVID-19ers. We're going to scroll down here just real quick and see what's what. Nobody going tonight, I believe. Nope, nobody going tonight. But Mahomes, Dalvin Cook, Metcalf, Robbie Anderson even making an appearance. Ooh, highlighted a little too much. Steelers did not really do as much as what was expected, but we see this right here. This is why, Nick, we pay attention to our lineups so that we don't get Brandon Ayuk on COVID reserve. Now, if we look down here, there's really nobody that he could have put in because everyone was on a bye. We see Marquise Hollywood Brown could have been put in that place, but he's still only gotten 6.8 points, which would have made this 79, almost 80 points, but still nowhere near what he would have needed to beat the champ. He will fall to 2-7 and remain in the last spot. Returning champ will go ahead and move up to spot 2. And Slutty Mutts right here versus C's Cowboys finishing at 164, and based on points will be ranked slightly above the misses, the returning champ for this week. I think they are separated now by, I believe, 4 points. Don't quote me on that. We'll check it out tomorrow when all these scores become final. 146 for C's Cowboys. Made a valiant effort. Cole Beasley let him down a little bit. Noah Fant not really having that great a day. Jacksonville's defense just not doing well. Uh, let's see. I really don't know if there's anybody. Yeah, there's nobody that could have helped out in any form. He lost Kittle, and this right here, Kittle and Sutton really need to just be off of his roster. Melvin Gordon not showing up. Lost Debo Samuel. Jamison Crowder Crowder going to, I'm about to say James Winston. James Crowder going tonight, but that on his bench. So that could have been a saving grace if he was in place of Cole Beasley, but he was not. So that being said, we see 18-point differential, unless Crowder just has a absolutely out of this world game. It's not really going to matter one way or the other. So congratulations to Charles and the Slutty Mutts beating Chris and C's Cowboys. Then we go over to the second worst beatdown of the week. This, man, Dustin just cannot catch a break. Last week getting the beatdown of the week from returning champ. This one losing to the COVID-19ers. And we see, unfortunately, David Johnson here at running back going out early with a concussion. We see Henry Ruggs only getting that 1 point. And that was just 10 yards rushing. He didn't even have reception. They really need to put these holes like back here so you can see this. Just marketing, guys. So, Washington football team, Washington Redskins, not really helping them out too much. Kicker doing all he can with 12 points, but no match for Will Fuller. Allen here with the Vegas Raiders. Deshaun Watson just playing out of his mind. Montgomery, I believe, also left that game early with a concussion, if I'm not mistaken. And Tyreek Hill just absolutely going out of his mind with 113 yards receiving, 2 receiving touchdowns, 8 yards rushing. We look down here on the bench, and this is the sad part, is that Lamar Jackson, if you had the choice between Lamar Jackson and Teddy Bridgewater, you're obviously starting Lamar Jackson. But if you listen to this program, I told you last week on my start set that Lamar Jackson was a sit. It's against Indy. Got a better matchup with Teddy B. So Teddy B should have been in against KC. Teddy B had 32 points. So might want to start listening, guys. Zach Moss here, 12 points. But a lot of injuries we had on this one. We got Raheem Mostert on IR. Kenyon Drake was inactive. Kenny Golladay was inactive. Scotty Miller only putting up 2 points, and everybody had a bad day if you were a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So that is it for the review of the League of Record. Now, let's get into the overreaction part of Overreaction Monday. We're going to start with quarterbacks. Garrett Gilbert, is this a flash or a fluke? So is Garrett Gilbert for real? Here's the thing I want you guys to remember. Number one, it's a weak division. Number two, the guy's been in the league since 2014 when he was drafted with the then St. Louis Rams. Yes, it's been that long since this guy's been in the league that the Rams have moved cities. There's not even a team in St. Louis anymore, unless you're baseball. He's got the weapons to succeed. He's got Cooper. Okay. He's got Zeke. He's got Pollard. Okay. He's got CeeDee Lamb. He's got Michael Gallup. So he's got Dwight. He's got Schultz at tight end. He's got the personnel around him. Now, does he have the ability? Everything that I saw last night against one of the better defenses, if not the best defense in the league, was that yes, it is possible. But here's what I want you guys to remember is that there was no film on this guy. They didn't know how to prepare for him, number one. Number two, they probably went in taking him way too light. If you saw, they really didn't blitz a whole lot except in the second half. So they went into halftime, made adjustments, came out, into story. Okay. So I think this kid's got a lot of fight in him. I think he has the good ability. If he didn't have ability, he wouldn't have been drafted where he was. I think it was like 4th round draft pick. So, he's got some ability. Does he stay the starter even if Andy Dalton comes back? And remember, they weren't doing that good when Dalton was there. So how does this pan out or work itself out for the Dallas Cowgirls? Time will tell. There's a short window here for fantasy owners. Look at the rest of his schedule and see if you need a streamer, could he be something? With one game worth of tape on this kid, I don't know if I want to waste that spot when you can go ahead and get someone else like Teddy Bridgewater, who's probably out there in your league, who's a proven commodity, who you know what you're going to get. Remember, in fantasy, the known versus the unknown, 9 times out of 10 is always going to be better. Okay, at least long term. Short term, yes, you can catch it lightning in the bottle. You can go ahead and get those guys like Ryan Tannehill was last year, like Tyler Higbee. And I remember, guys, I always talk about environment over stats. The environment last year for Tyler Higbee changed dramatically when Gerald Everett went down to injury, and those 5 weeks, he was an absolute beast for fantasy. So if you can get something like that, then go ahead by all means. But this guy, Gilbert, time will tell. And guys, in fantasy, we don't have a lot of time left. We're coming up on week 10. You've got maybe 4 more weeks. You've got 1 month before the fantasy playoffs start. Remember, week 14 is when the fantasy playoffs start for most platforms. Sometimes it's even earlier, week 13. And a lot of leagues are going to lock up their rosters. There's no more trades, there's no more free agency. Once you get to a certain point, that's it. You're locked. End of story. Okay. So if you are in your league and you don't know when your cutoff date is, you need to find this out. You need to go and look, ask your commissioner, see when the cutoff date is, if you have a cutoff date for trades, or if you're just wide open, you're ready to go. But remember, when the fantasy playoffs start, your time's run out. Whatever you're going in with, 9 times out of 10, that's what you're there with. Injury or what have you. Make sure you're looking at the week 14, 15, and 16 schedule for your players and making up the best lineup that you can possibly make. And remember, trust your gut, but please be aware and review and adjust accordingly. Okay. So you can reign supreme over your fantasy league. All right, guys. So going in next quarterback, we're going to look at Drew Lock. Lock him or leave him. Look, he had 313 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown. This kid's legit. Let's see if we can pull up his stats here. Let me switch this to all players. All right, so we see Drew Lock here. Oh, sorry, guys. Thought I had on QB. All right. Oh, sorry. This is what happens on Monday mornings, guys. I haven't finished this one yet. Bear with me, okay? Here we go. I know it wasn't that far down. So, Drew Lock finishes as the top 5 quarterback this week. Now, is that a fluke or is it something that you can depend on? We look back here. He was out weeks 3 and 4 with injury, had a bye in week 5, came back, had a really poor showing against New England. Then he got Atlanta. Now, this is what I want you guys to look at. Okay. He gets Miami next, who just got torched, okay, last week. So now they got torched by Kyler Murray. Am I saying that Drew Lock's Kyler Murray? No, not by any stretch of the imagination. But is it possible for them to get burned? Yes. Then he gets New Orleans and KC, Carolina, Buffalo, and the Chargers. I don't really like any of these matchups, but if you are like I am next week, or the wife's team is next week, she is going to be missing Mahomes and Matt Ryan. So if you are missing both of those quarterbacks coming up in week 10, Drew Lock gets a very good matchup against the Raiders, who are absolutely horrible at defense. So if you need a streamer quarterback, Drew Lock could be a very good choice for you for this week. Okay, you see he's got 25 and 33 for the last 2 weeks, and that was against Atlanta and the Chargers. So neither one really a powerhouse defense. So look to Drew Lock. I think that you can leave him after week 10 and be absolutely fine with that. Okay. So Teddy B right behind him. Now, some of your leagues you're gonna have Teddy B rostered. Some of them he's not. But we're gonna pull him up. What's interesting about Teddy B is not his performance this past week. It's the potential for his performance for the next few weeks. Now, remember, this is the first week that he gets Christian McCaffrey back. And even though Mike Davis has been absolutely phenomenal in the replacement of McCaffrey, there's only one Christian McCaffrey, and there's only one that you're going to be able to do what you can do with him in the game. Okay, so we get coming up for the rest of the weeks. I don't like the week 13 bye, but outside of that, we look at Tampa Bay, who just got embarrassed. Okay, I probably wouldn't want them that week because they're going to come out pissed off. But if their defense can hold up, we see right here, this is basically what we're looking at. If he knocks out these 2 interceptions, replace it with a touchdown, still throw for about, he's going to have to throw for about 350 because they're going to square up and try to stop McCaffrey. You can see, a pretty good output for that week. After week 10, he gets Detroit, Minnesota. He again has a week 13 bye. And then, okay. Sorry, guys, got an update about the son going off to school. So he's one of those hybrid kids that goes Monday, Wednesday, and every other Friday. So I know 2020, it's crazy. But anyway, so back to Teddy B. He gets Detroit, then Minnesota, then the bye in week 13, which if you're leaning on Teddy B, you're going to need a good streaming 13th week quarterback for your team to maybe even get you in the playoffs. And then he gets Denver, Green Bay, and Washington to finish it out. The Washington matchup could be a little tricky because of the defense. Also because they might not need to score that many points to beat Washington, depending upon how things shake out there. Green Bay, they're going to have to put up points. Green Bay's defense can be run on, maybe not thrown on as much, but they can definitely be run on. We saw that with Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook absolutely just torched them when he played. And I'm not saying that, well, actually, I can't say it. McCaffrey and Cook, not that far apart. So, is Teddy B a trust or bust? I think that with the schedule that he has, you can definitely trust him for the remainder of the schedule. Like I said, the Tampa Bay kind of worries me a little bit because of the beatdown that they took last night against the Saints. They're going to come out, just pissed off and just ready to, smash someone. So I really don't know how much you can take right there, but we'll see. Next on the list and last on the list, Tom Brady. Now, I want to show you. This is the top 25 for week 9. I'm going to scroll down a little slower, and we see guys like Kirk Cousins, Nick Foles, Jake Luton. Like, really? 304 and a touchdown plus an interception. I mean, Jake's not looking too bad. Even beat Lamar Jackson, which is really not that hard to do. Derek Carr, Danny Dimes, Nick Mullins, Alex Smith, even coming in late, finished in the top 25. Taysom Hill finishes here at 25 simply on the fact that he had a receiving touchdown from Drew Brees. Not because of his quarterback play, so don't get that twisted. So then we have to flip over to 26, and we scroll up here, and who do we find? That's right, Mr. Tom Brady, Chase Daniels, Phillip Rivers, and Kyle Allen, even after leaving early, still finished better than Tom freaking Brady. Brady threw for 209 yards and 3, no, not touchdowns, interceptions. Finished with 2.36 points. Now, I know you might be thinking, oh, well, this is a fluke. This isn't the beginning of the end. Is it? Here's the thing. Number one, and I know this always gets brought up with Brady, and I hate being a broken record on this, but he's 43. Sooner or later, the man's going to fall off the edge here, okay? He's got 2 really, really, really good performances going into the 40s, but that was against Vegas and the Chargers. Kind of expect that from Brady, okay? Against Carolina, had a 10-point performance. Against Chicago, a 16-point performance. Against a not so good Green Bay team, 18-point performance. And look, guys, I mean, 279 and 2 touchdowns against the Giants. And if you watch this game was not, it shouldn't, number one, it shouldn't have been this close, and it shouldn't have been a win by Tampa Bay. It should have been a win by the Giants. I was sitting there just absolutely just crazy about this. So not something that you really thought you'd see. So I'm thinking if you have a better option at quarterback, yes, I would go ahead and pull the trigger on this, and you could probably get something decent out of Brady. if you're hurting in other positions. If you have a good backup to Brady, go for it. Running back, J.D. McKissick. Is this committee or command? Okay, so pull this down here, guys. J.D. McKissick, is this going to be a committee or is he in command of this backfield? They got Alex Smith just coming in, so I think it's going to be about another week. He's definitely somebody that you could probably roster. Kalen Ballage, 2 company and 3 is a crowd. When you have Kelly and other running backs, we have Austin Eckler that's still on IR. Not really sure when he comes back. So when he comes back, all of this goes away. Okay, all of this confusion goes away, and Austin Eckler comes in, takes over the lead role. Okay, Justin Jackson, Josh Kelly, Kellen Ballage, all of them fall to the wayside. So don't really lean on any of them. When Eckler gets back. Jonathan Taylor. I don't know what to tell you about Taylor, except sorry you wasted that high of a draft pick. This guy has been an absolute bust this year. He's not somebody that you can lean on. If you look at him, he's like a mirage. He looks really, really good, and then you get up close and you take a look at the stats, and he's not what you drafted. Okay. Derrick Henry. Let me share this real quick. I want to show you guys the rest of his schedule. Let's flip over here to running backs. And we see Ballage had a really nice output, but I mean, there's too much question in that backfield. There we go. Derrick Henry finishing outside of the top 25. And we look down at his stats, the rest of his schedule. He gets Indy, Baltimore, Indy again, Cleveland, Jacksonville, Detroit, and Green Bay. Now, Green Bay, yes, he can run all over. Jacksonville, he can probably run all over. But you're going to have a really tough 4-week stretch between Indy twice, Baltimore, and Cleveland. So, of course, you're going to hold on to him until that last stretch. And this last stretch, that's week 1 of the playoffs. This is the semifinals, and this is the Super Bowl. So if you can make it through with having Derrick Henry basically taking up a roster spot, are you betting on the upside? Of course. So I'm just telling you, temper expectations for the next 4 weeks. He could blow up one of those 4 weeks and be absolutely fine for you. Maybe the second time he faces Indy, possibly against Baltimore. The Cleveland game, I don't know if they could run on, but it's going to maybe depend upon the weather. Let me check real quick for you guys. See where that Cleveland game is. Okay, so the Cleveland game is going to be in Tennessee, so we might not get snow in that one. But Green Bay, you're probably going to be getting snow for the Green Bay game. So remember, weather is something you definitely need to take a look at with your running backs and your receivers. Your quarterbacks, if you have a good passing quarterback or a good quarterback who has a good pass catching running back like Teddy B does with Christian McCaffrey, the weather really doesn't matter as much because you got those short little dink and dunks like they do with Breeze and Kamara, but those combinations are few and far between. So when you see bad weather, temper expectations on quarterbacks, temper expectations on wide receivers, but exceed expectations for running backs because it's going to be a very run-heavy time when you have high wind, snow, or just bad weather with rain. So Richie James topping the list for wide receivers this week. Now, here's the thing. He was the wide receiver number 1. He even topped Devontae Adams, and that's saying a lot. He had 184 yards receiving, but he was an Armageddon type receiver. What do I mean by that? If you remember the scene from Armageddon when Bruce Willis finds I'm having a brain cramp. Oh, Affleck finds Affleck in bed with his daughter, and she tells him that she loves him, and he says it's not a choice, it's a lack of options. Well, this is kind of the same thing with Richie James. Richie James. Richie James, you had Brandon Ayuk on COVID, Deebo Samuel was injured, George Kittle is out for the year, and Jordan Reed basically is on one leg whenever he's out there. So kind of didn't have any more options. So Richie James, if the rest of this receiving core stays where it's at, which is on the sideline, yeah, Richie James, plug him in, play him. He's the only option. When he's the only guy to throw to, yes, you're going to plug him in. It's kind of like Terry McLaurin in Washington. He's the only passing option, so he's the only guy you want. So Richie James, could he be something? Yes. Will he be something? That's yet to be seen. But definitely, if you need wide receiver help, if you're facing bye weeks, I know a lot of guys this week in particular had a lot of receivers on buys. And we're going to talk about buys and things when we get into tomorrow's episode of the waiver wires. But DJ Shark, look, has he made a new connection, or is he just a flavor of the week for Jay Luton in Jacksonville? Look, they made the switch. He recognizes the talent. DJ Shark is the talent. He is the number 1 receiver in Jacksonville. We saw that Cole, Laviska Shenault, they were both getting play as well, but DJ Shark was the guy. Okay, so if you have DJ Shark, plug him in, play him. If they're throwing their weight behind Jay Luton, then by all means, go for it. Remember, though, it was against Houston, so maybe kind of temper expectations. Check out the schedule and make your adjustments accordingly. MVS, Marquise Valdez-Scantling, is he back or is he a bust? Look, Aaron Rodgers is going to get the ball to one person consistently, and that is Devontae Adams. MVS, when you've got Allen Lazard fixing to come back off of IR, we'll see how that pans out. But I've been burned by MVS personally too many times. I'm not throwing any weight behind him. And then to end the wide receiver talk, we're going to talk about Mikes and Ikes, or Mikes and Yikes, because yikes on the return of Michael Thomas. You were not happy if you were a Michael Thomas owner and you got to roll him out for the first time. You only got 10 points. Fortunately, I didn't have to depend on that. But if you're a Mike Evans owner and you were looking, look, I told you guys this was coming with the signing of Antonio Brown, and with the just absolutely horrible play by Tom Brady last night, this was not a good recipe for success here, okay? And moving forward, I don't see it getting any better. Godwin was active. Scotty Miller's there. Gronk, Antonio Brown. Mike Evans. It's 5 guys that you got to get the ball to, not including the running back. Okay. So once again, this is a New England type situation when the only player that you wanted was Tom Brady. But here's the problem. Belichick's not the coach. This is not the Tom Brady of old. This is the new Bucs Tom Brady. It's in Tampa Bay. So temper expectations. This could be the end of the beginning of the end for Brady, okay? Yes, they might come out and just have an absolutely blowout game next week against Carolina, but this is the NFC South, not the AFC East. He doesn't get to face Buffalo. He doesn't get to face the Jets. He doesn't get to face Miami twice each year. He has to face real defenses in this division. And we're seeing kind of him going up and down. Yes, he has blow up monster weeks, but then he has things like this where he scores under 3 points. So if he's your backup, good job. Hopefully you have a better starter. If he's your starter, you might want to go get a backup. As far as tight ends go, I've got 2 that I want to touch on real quick. Evan Ingram. If you have Evan Ingram, I know it might be hard to get off of him, and it's really hard to find good tight end play. If you're offered a decent trade for him, and you can find somebody else on the waiver wire, or maybe you have another tight end, go ahead, because you never know when the bottom's going to fall out of this one. So he's busted way too much. Could this be a sell? You know, you're buying high, or you're selling high on Evan Ingram. Don't know. If you want to trust your gut and you want to go and you think that Evan Ingram is back and that Danny Dimes has turned the corner and things are looking up in New York, go for it. I totally get it. I understand. Now, this next guy, Mark Andrews. Look, with them bringing up Dez Bryant, I don't know what they're doing in the passing game, but it's still Lamar Jackson that's going to have to throw the ball. He's not that good a passer. Trade him now, or you're going to have to just tough it out, because you're going to find it really, really hard to bench him with the upside that he possesses. Okay. Does he possess a great upside? Sure. That's why he was the number 3 wide receiver, or number 3 tight end last year. So maybe shop him, see what you can get. If you can get, a good RB2, wide receiver 2 out of him, pull the trigger, especially if you can get an RB. If you can get a good RB, go for it. But Mark Andrews is not what he was last year. So that being said, I want you guys to remember, overreaction Monday is never a good time to make choices. Make sure that you take a breath, step back, evaluate the surroundings, look at the environment around the player and why he is where he is for this past week. See where he's been, look at where he's going, and then make your decision. Don't make a snap decision. Don't do that tilt drop where you guys just tilt and you're like, man, forget him. He's gone. He's off my roster. Okay. Look for those guys in your league that are doing that. The guys that are upset with the output that their star player has for this past week. Okay. If they're frustrated, go to them with a low ball offer. Low ball them. You can always go up, but it's really, really hard to go back down. So if you guys have questions about trades, if you guys have questions about waiver wire acquisitions, remember tomorrow's show, Waiver Wire Tuesday, and then we're going to get into start sits on Wednesday. And I will see you guys tomorrow after the game. If you're looking for the Jets or the Pats to help you win, good luck. But remember, always tune in to Fantasy Football Academy 2020 with your host, the Dean, so you can reign supreme over your fantasy league. All right, guys, we'll see you next time. Take care. Take care of each other. And remember, random acts of kindness. Leave them down the bottom. Subscribe, like, and share for me. All right, guys?